Good morning, everyone. Going live in 3, 2, 1. Good morning. John Hutchings here, Healthy Edge Live. It is Thursday morning. If you're an NFL fan, that means the NFL schedule kicks off this week, tonight. So you're excited for some football. Speaking of football, football requires intense conditioning. Mainly to play a game that has 3 to 5 second bursts of violent activity. Absolutely an all-out application of strength, power, speed, quickness, agility, and then rest for about 20, 30 seconds. It's kind of the opposite of Tabata, where we talked about the last 2 episodes where you work for 20 seconds and then you get a 10-second break. I had to sub in for what's called sweat class here at World Gym Rochester last night at 6 o'clock after doing a CrossFit workout and a squat workout because I wanted to get some extra squats in. So I got to do Tabata again yesterday. We'll talk about that in a minute, and we'll talk about our topic of overtraining. But back to the football subject. All-out burst for 3 to 5 seconds, rest for 20 seconds. So players train for, almost year-round. I think they take probably a month or 2 off, and probably some take a few more. But for the most part, those people wanting to keep those paychecks are working hard year-round in the weight room, functional training, speed training, conditioning, all of this stuff that goes into those 3 to 5 seconds. Going back to yesterday and drawing the parallel between what football players do and what we do as civilians, there can come a point of diminishing returns. So if you start out and here's your base level of conditioning, right? And you're gradually increasing. And I posted a chart yesterday that showed us cycling intensity and then gradually increasing volume or workload in the weight training portion of the blueprint. Players do that too. They're trying to peak for the season, and then they try to maintain it while fighting off injury for the 16 weeks of the season. So there's a point somewhere on that graph of diminishing returns where if you do more work or put more time into your training, the results start to fall off a little bit because you are engaging in what is commonly known as overtraining in the health, fitness, and well-being industry, right? So I want to talk a little bit about overtraining as it relates to us civilians. Now, I'm always a little cautious about bringing this subject up. The reason it's timely today is I had a new person start with the blueprint the other day, and in the weight room, I think we pushed a little too far. Now, overtraining as it relates to a beginner just starting a program is when you add too much volume too quickly to a body that's not prepared for it. Because as we've talked about before, there's 3 elements to training. There is the work phase, there is the nutrition, feeding phase, and there's the recovery phase. The work phase, you want to increasingly add volume and progression to that to get yourself in better shape, to get in better shape, right? But if you start off too soon trying to, ascend too quickly, you can hit an overtraining point really quick. And I think we kind of pushed a little over that line with Eversha yesterday, and she emailed me, and what I recommended was let's rest, let's recover, and then let's come back more sensibly. I hesitate to talk about this subject because I think a lot of us use, our perception of where our body is relative to the work to pull back from that sometimes. If you're sore, you're going to be sore a little bit when you start out. You are engaging muscle fiber that you haven't used in that way in a long time. So you're going to experience some soreness. The challenge is to experience soreness with an appropriate amount of volume and intensity. If you try to ramp that up too quickly, then you get the other symptoms of overtraining, which is irritability, like you got tight muscles that you just can't get loosened up, having trouble sleeping, you have restless sleep, you just can't get into a deep sleep state. Sharp pains is injury. So I don't want to confuse the two here. If you have a sharp or immediate or some pain that you know is abnormal and it's sudden, that is pain, not overtraining, and you need to address that as such, whether it's see a doctor or a medical professional, physical therapist, chiropractor, what have you. Rest, ice, elevation, compression, all that stuff. Although new science is saying heat as opposed to ice will speed the healing process, probably initially to take down inflammation, ice. But anyway, we won't get into all that. We're talking about overtraining. So the signs of overtraining is lack of sleep, irritability, tight muscles, chronic issues that just feel like, oh man, I just overdid it, that lasts more than 24 to 48 hours. Now, 48 hours, a window of weight training is a reasonable time because of delayed onset muscle soreness. We're actually snapping little muscle filaments, and that recovery process usually starts to hit its peak 48 hours after the workout, especially with larger muscle groups like legs. So let's don't confuse that with overtraining either. But overtraining, we got a little technological issue going on. I've got this damn phone leaning against the screen. Apologize if we mess up the angle here. Let's try that. So overtraining is a specific set of conditions where you have pushed the volume or the intensity too soon in your workouts. Cardiovascular can accumulate too. So back to yesterday, Wednesday, live look-in at Monroe County CrossFit. I did my workout there. It wasn't an overly intense. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd put it at about a 7. It was a 21, 15, 9 thrusters and calorie row couplet after a little workout warm-up phase that had 2 500-meter rows and a couple other things like pull-ups and dips. So it wasn't over taxing in a volume sort of way or even an intensity sort of way. The WOD itself, the couplet, took just under 7 minutes for me. So on top of that, I thought, I'm going to do some squats because it's in my cycle. I want to train my legs. And I could have put it off till tomorrow, which would be today. But I decided to do it that day. So I put some time into squats. And then I had to sub the sweat class. Back to that. I did the Tabata, which is 20 minutes on, or 20 seconds on, not 20 minutes, and 10 seconds off. Now that, I'm in pretty good shape these days, so it kind of pushed my envelope up to the amount of volume that my body was ready for. I think we stayed under that line. But here's the thing, with advanced trainers or training, when you get to the point where you've got 2 to 3 months of solid training, consistent effort under your belt, you're ready to push up against that envelope. It is that fine line between optimal training and overtraining that you try to walk on to get the best results. Because if you fall short of that, this line right here, I don't know if my graphics are good with my hand, this line right here, which is the threshold between the optimal and overtraining, that's where you need to exist on a pretty regular basis. Now, we cycle with our weight training up and down so our body can recover properly and reload to get back to that. But for the most part, you want to do a lion's share of your training right near that line after you have a base of conditioning and strength and all the elements that we're training for, right? Optimal health, fitness, and well-being. You've got your nutrition on point. You're doing your hydration. You're doing your supplementation. You're getting proper sleep. You're taking cold showers. I talked about that in my Tabata class yesterday. If you're not taking cold shower intervals, you're missing a huge opportunity to speed your recovery from workouts. So all the things you're kind of firing on all cylinders, then your body's ready to push that. But new people, it's better to leave thinking I could have done more than to walk out of a workout or the gym thinking I might have overdone it. You've got to give feedback. If you're working with a trainer, say, hey, maybe this is too much. If they're pushing you to do more than you can, and, as a professional trainer, I try to monitor that. Every once in a while we push past that, not intentional, but, you've got to be your own advocate there too, and just keep showing up and putting in consistent effort, build that base, and then when you're ready, go for it. Live in that space between optimal and overtraining, that ideal that's going to get you all the results that you are going to the gym for, that you're eating for. Now, with some resources to help you out, healthyedgeblueprint.com, check it out. We've got a great program here. I've been talking to a lot of new people. We're getting a lot of interest. People are looking for this type of programming. And if you are looking for all the coaching and information, motivation, and accountability that's been lacking in your game plan, check that out, Healthy Edge Blueprint. Send me a message. I'd love to bring you on board here, let you have a trial and see how we do that here. Healthy Edge Meals, it is a convenient way to eat healthy without all the social media stuff, debate going back and forth between keto and Whole Foods, Whole30, all the stuff that people want to debate the science. This is just a meal plan that's keto-ish. It is paleo-ish. It's whole foods. It's lean protein. It's what your body needs to complement your workouts. HealthyEdgeMeals.com, and it's convenient. You can prep it yourself. If you don't want to do that, give that website a look and consider getting on track with that meal plan. Supplementation, the 10-day challenge. I'm finishing up mine today. This is day number 10. Tomorrow I'll give you the results of that. But jumpstart your gut health with the 10-day cleanse, the 10-day challenge. Give me a message if you have questions about that. Get yourself a solid multivitamin and supplement your performance with Mass Impact. These are great supplements that you ought to be including in your regimen. Those are the resources, guys. I'm going to end it there. Overtrain. Try to stay below that line. Walk out thinking, maybe I could have done more, rather than I did too much. And then when the time is right, boom, go for it. All right, guys, have a great day. Hope you get a chance to watch some football this weekend starting tonight. I know I'm going to be watching some football Friday and Saturday. I can't wait. Sunday too, of course. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Friday. Have a great day.